And one of the big questions here is how are our partners and allies in the Middle East going to respond? Because they're getting hit by fire because American bases are in their countries.
Right. That was the point that I was making with Matt. I think he thought I meant what diplomacy was being undertaken with the Iranians. I meant what is happening. Who are we talking to when it comes to the UAE, when it comes to Dubai, when it comes to Jordan, when it comes to Qatar? And so for that, we go to CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab, who is joining us live from Doha, Qatar, this afternoon. It's evening where you are, Imtiaz. So again, the point that we were making with Matt, this is now drawing other countries into this conflict, something that the United States and Israel, my guess is, wanted to avoid, that this becomes a regional war as opposed to a war between the U.S. and Israel and Iran. So in Doha, what are you seeing and what are the Qataris telling you?
Vlad, Adriana, the mood here was one of shock, one of fear, and now one of anger. There's a real sense of anger here that for several days now, Iran has been targeting not only Qatar, where I am now, but as we've been hearing, Gulf countries across the region. That includes Oman, that includes the United Arab Emirates, that includes Bahrain, that includes Kuwait, and that includes Saudi Arabia. All of these countries, some of which have trillion-dollar economies, has seen their airspaces shut, their economies closed, and incoming in a way that they have never experienced in decades, if ever. This is Doha. You can see this glittering skyline behind me. It is known for its five-star hotels. It is known for its safety. It's known for its security, and it's known for its wealth. All of those things are being tested right now, including here, in Dubai, and elsewhere. And it's part of a strategy by Iran to inflict maximum economic pressure across the region. Why would Iran want to do that? For them, they believe that if they can pressure countries across the Gulf, that they will go to the U.S., their ally, go to Israel, and say, you need to stop this war. It is costing our economy too much. We cannot handle this. End this war now. It is a gamble, and it's a gamble that, frankly, has not paid off, at least for the Iranians, but Gulf countries are continuing to pay that price.
And Gulf countries are showing restraint. You know, so far they're really just trying to defend themselves by trying to shoot down some of that incoming. But at some point, you know, will they start to join the offensive, or they also...
Right, because it's an interesting point, Imtiaz, and your reporting, which is the first I'm hearing of it now, which is the growing anger in some of these states, is an interesting one because let's think back to our other the other conflicts that the United States has engaged in the region, including the first Gulf War and the second Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan. There was always a diplomatic effort to talk to our partners and allies in the region, if anything, to in many cases to sign them up to be a part of a coalition that would at least be unified on the messaging. There doesn't appear, at least from what we can tell, to have been any kind of engagement with those partners. In fact, what you're seeing is the State Department isn't even prepared to get Americans out of countries that want to come home.
Saudi Arabia is not going to sign up to join an effort that includes Israel.
Well, when you think about the effort that was undertaken to remove Saddam Hussein in the first Gulf War, where you had a very grand coalition of all these partners, it doesn't seem that that diplomatic outreach has happened in this case, Imtiaz, and now we're seeing the repercussions of that.
You know, it's a really interesting point that both of you raise, which is the complex geopolitics and dynamic here. I'll start with the one thing. You're right. Even though we saw for weeks President Trump massing troops into the Persian Gulf and around this region, and all of us were thinking, okay, something's going to happen here. What wasn't happening is any meaningful dialogue with Gulf countries about what could happen if Israel and the U.S. together would launch a war on Iran. And that's what's happened. And so these countries were not given advance notice. And so one of the concerns that many of these Gulf states has is that they've been able to successfully deflect most of the damage, even though it has caused some damage. You've seen those buildings on fire in Dubai and elsewhere. You've seen liquid gas fields here in Doha completely shut down, gas fields in Saudi Arabia shut down. And so what these Gulf countries are saying is like, hey, we didn't even have a chance to prepare for this. We didn't have a chance to figure out what we're going to do in the event of this. And then on top of it, you have hundreds of thousands of Americans across the region who are stuck. They want to go home, and they have no way out. Guys.
Imtiaz Tyab, thank you so much for all of your reports.